Hey y'all, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Ink Audible. This is the very first video I'm trying to film and get out there. I have to tell you, this is quite challenging. It's been something trying to figure out how to get this lighting right and how to get the audio right. I have filmed like and done multiple takes here, and I think I finally have the lighting where I needed to be. Hopefully it is. We're gonna go with it. I am Michael, but all my friends call me Mike B. And I started this YouTube channel back in September. I've been posting a few shorts here and there, but I knew it was time to come out from the shadows and really start to put my face on camera and start to really give you a sense for what I'm trying to do and where I'm trying to go with this. Ink Audible isn't just a YouTube channel, it's also a website, and I'm going to tell you more about that as we go. But what I thought it might help to do is just first tell you, how I got here and how this started. I'm like many, I'm a reader with a love of reading. I've always been a big reader. Wasn't always completely locked in. That's the moment I'm going to kind of tell you a little bit about. But reading has always been something I enjoy. I do it almost on a daily basis. And there were always sporadic books that caught my interest, but there was one particular book that I read literally almost 20 or 25 years ago. It was called The Souls of Black Folks. When I, first read that particular book, that really, the connection between the black life and what it looked like all the way back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and as captured by W.E.B. Du Bois, and that connection to when I was reading it, which was like the very early 2000s, I could see how the experiences we have stayed the same over time, and what we struggle with and what goes on here in America was almost a universal thread. I also liked reading something that showed me what Black life was like before the Great Migration and before so many folks tried to move from the South to the North and find new lives, and whether it was Chicago, Philly, New York, you name the city, or some who went west and tried to find better lives there. This is a good book to get that view of what it was like before all that. So once I read that started to kind of lock me into a habit of reading. And since then, I've been sort of reading like 20 to 25 books a year. I remember right after reading Souls of Black Folks, I actually read another book called The Intelligent Investor. And I know probably doesn't seem like there's any connection between the two books, and on some level it's not, but at the time, which was like 2000, 2001, I was trying my first giving my first ever to investing on my own. And this was just before the dot-com bust, and I can tell you I got the dot-com bust as I was trying to learn how to invest and didn't really, or trying to invest but really didn't know how, and that led me to reading The Intelligent Investor. And I've read a bunch of other books since then to get my knowledge up. So I know a lot now, but at that time that was like my starting point. And again, my habit formed around that. I remember at that time my interests were really reading around marketing. I'm also into writing, so I was reading a lot of books around writing. I was reading a lot of books around getting money and how to get wealth. And I think the other big interest I had at that time was African American history and nonfiction, and those were where I started, what kept me going. And fast forward to where we are now, and those were like the seeds that set the stage to plant Ink and Audible. So who I was and who I am aren't totally separate. There's still plenty of overlap. There's been change, of course. We all change over time. But I can tell you, I spent about 20 years working as a marketing professional, mainly in professional services or the accounting consulting world. I actually also spent a good number of years working at a large pharmaceutical distributor, and my last role was actually working for a tech company in the DMV area. Um, those things, honestly, I'm still a marketing professional. That hasn't changed. It's still what I enjoy doing. I'm putting it to work in different ways now, but I don't, totally want to put on the old hat anymore. I'm also a father of two. I have a 14-year-old and a 12-year-old, a boy and a girl. And that's, those things are sort of still core to who I am, but I'm evolving as a creative and a writer. So that's some of what I am and want to be more of. I've always been subject to what I call random spurts of creativity. So I've had, if I just look back over time, I've always done tons of, fiction writing workshops. I've done screenwriting. I've gotten into bread baking at one point. I tried, guitar playing. I have my moments where I really go in, explore new interests, try something new. Usually what happens is, life calls, the job calls, or something has to happen, or there's something going on with family that sort of takes me out of just focusing in on that thing I really want to learn or do or enjoy. And I have to just, do like everybody else. I have to do what you got to do. But how I got here a little bit is 2024 came, and I've always said, I think most people can handle two things pretty well. So for me, that was the demands of a 50-hour-a-week job, and of course parenting. But then we had sort of a few family members in a health crisis, and when that crunched in with the job and family, it became too much, and I started to sort of struggle through a spurt of burnout. It was just overwhelmed, too much going on, couldn't get it all done, not resting. Just, it was a quick ride downhill. And the company I was with actually was also, in full growth mode, but not hitting their growth targets. So long story short, by the summer of last year, I ended up as part of a layoff, and that set me up to begin thinking more about, well, what do I want to do? Where do I want to go? What is it that I have a true desire to do? And that took me back to, writing, creating, and Ink and Audible started to emerge in that. I spent probably about, for the last year I've been on Medium writing, but last August is when I first put up a website under Ink and Audible and started to put out different book reviews. It was podcast reviews, and also sometimes just social commentary. So those three things, and then September, October came, and it jumped over to starting the YouTube channel and beginning to build that. I put some shorts out there, but this is me first getting in front of the camera and beginning to introduce me and introduce what I'm trying to do with Ink and Audible and get people interested and find an audience that might be interested in what I'm doing. So that's where I'm going, and that's, a little bit of who I was and tying it to who I am. To label Ink and Audible as YouTube channel that's really focused on book reviews isn't really doing it full justice. It's a little bit more than that. That's at least the way I see it in my mind. I know there's a lot of YouTubers out there in the book review space, and it's actually beautiful to see so many people focusing on reading. But from my perspective, what it's about is not just book reviews, but it's going to be more a combination of that with social and cultural commentary coming from my perspective and with my individual lens based on what I've lived and what I've seen. And it's also going to be delving into examine the book and the big sort of, I don't know, not the aha, but the big sort of question the book is asking or challenging us to think about, and giving a perspective on that, and really asking you as the viewer, the reader, or those who might go out and then, invest the time in reading something that I surfaced, to really come back and give me their thoughts on what that book is about, or whether they agree or don't agree. One of the things I'm learning is, in terms of genres, I can't really cover it all. I'm going to delve in where my interests are and what really excites me and what really gets me turning pages and reading, and what sets me in a stage where I want to get in front of a camera and try to make that video to put out there. So for me, I'm really into African American history and nonfiction. So I'm gonna cover a lot of that on this channel. I'm gonna cover a lot of memoirs and biographies. That's another big area for me. I will be delving into, and I hope it's interest for everybody. I'm always into, what can you do to get more money? So books that delve into the financial and maybe the entrepreneurial, but that bigger umbrella of, trying to get more money, whether side hustle, whatever it is, whatever you're doing. I want to get into mysteries and crime and thrillers. That's another area that I've always been, interested in. So I'll be covering those in many ways in the readings I do and the reviews I do and the commentary I give. I also have a big interest in what I call AI and future tech. So that's something that you're going to get from me and get my perspective on. Matter of fact, I think one of the books I'm going to jump into next really goes down that lane. For the future of Ink and Audible, I really hope that at some point in time, maybe not until 6 or 9 months down the line, that I get to actually sit down with authors who are writing books in those genres and talk to them about what motivated them to do the book, why they wanted to do the book, what they were trying to say, what it was about. And I'm really looking for those who are kind of, new or early in their careers. Of course, it'd be great to talk to the bigger authors, but I think it's the new voices that don't get out there. And those are the ones I want to try to give some shine when Ink and Audible in the future. There's no way I can end this video or forget in the video to mention subscribe and comment down below. I'm definitely looking for thoughts, ideas, particularly around the genre of books that I'm going to be talking about. If there's certain books that you're reading that you think are definitely worth me taking the moment to review and go deeper with it, then let me know. I gotta tell you a little bit about what's coming next. I am in the middle of reading a book called AI 2041, 10 Visions for the Future. And I mentioned earlier, I'm really into AI and future tech and what's coming. I mean, there's so much of this AI that's gonna impact our lives in really deep ways over the next, 5-10 years. So any light I can shine in there, I want to. I actually did a review of one of the short stories in the book, and that's actually posted on the Ink and Audible website now. I'll actually put a link to that down in the comments. So if you want to go check that out later, you can. There's another book that I'm actually looking at reading too that it just struck my interest. I'm not sure if it's gonna strike everybody, but it's called Black Capitalists. And given our history here, black and brown people's history here in America, especially African Americans, around capitalism and how in many ways capitalism has always been a big part of what has held us back. I'm interested in her viewpoint. She's actually trying to reimagine what capitalism can look like and how it's almost like she's trying to say how black folks can give it a different spin and take it in a different direction. And I want to delve deep into what she's talking about and see, is that is there possibilities? I do believe that in America we're in, I highly doubt that you could ever change the economic system here. It's almost like reinvention might be the only way and the only road to do something different with capitalism. But I don't think we'll ever be a you name the economic system, communist, socialist, whatever. I don't think that'll ever happen. It's got to be some version, some breed of capitalism. So I'm going to get into that, and that's what you can expect. And that could come as a video, or that could come as an actual piece, or maybe a little bit of both. We'll see. I just want to tell everybody again, welcome to Ink and Audible. Hope you subscribe. Please go to the website, which you can find in my profile. Subscribe there, and definitely looking forward to continuing to connect with people. Hopefully, get to know some people through this process, and let's see what happens in 2026.